Welcome to the next episode of Math at Bedtime or Anytime. Today we're going to be talking about using our fingers to show representations of numbers. So in this game you're going to use your fingers to make numbers. So you might ask your child, show me 5. And they can show you 5. Or you might say, show me 4. And then you might say, show me another way to make 4. This is foreign to a lot of students because they've never been asked to use 2 hands to make a number. So when you ask them to show another way to make 4, they may not recognize right away that they can use both hands, or they might put up a 4 on one hand and a 4 on the other hand. And you might say, oh, that makes 8. Can you think of another way that shows 4? And they might put 3 on one hand, 1 on the other, or 2 on one hand, 2 on the other. And this activity can work with 2 hands for the numbers 2 through 8. Another thing you can do is to make a number and hide it behind your back. You can use one hand or both hands and have the child guess your number. And you can use math language. So let's say you're holding the number 4 behind your back. And they say, is it 10? And you might say, it's less than 10. If they say, is it 2? It's more than 2. So think of different questioning you can use for that activity. So another thing you can do is make a number on your finger and then have your child make the same number as you. Then create a mirror image of your fingers. The way you do that is by allowing your fingertips to touch your child's fingertips with the same number. So let's say you have 2 and your child has 2. You might say, I have 2 and you have 2. How many do we have in all? Or you might say, how many do I have? How many do you have? How many do we have all together? And then you might show your child a number using both hands. Let's say you make the number 9 on your hands. So you're holding up a 5 on one hand and a 4 on the other. And you might ask your child to think of a math fact to match your fingers. What math fact goes with the fingers I'm showing you? 5 plus 4, that's right. 5 plus 4. So how many fingers is that? 5 plus 4 is 9. That's right. I'm showing 9 fingers. Finger patterns is something that a lot of children struggle with. And the more they're exposed to making numbers with their fingers, the easier it will become for them. The reason why this is important is because a lot of children use fingers when they're doing adding and subtracting. And that's okay. What we want to try to do is help kids to recognize that they don't have to count all of their fingers if they already know how many fingers that is. So if a child is doing the problem 5 plus 2 and they make a 5 on one hand and a 2 on the other, we want the child to look down and recognize, oh, 5 and 2, that's 7, instead of having to count all of their fingers. Now, for a while, kids might have to count their fingers by 1 in order to recognize those numbers. But with more experience and more practice, kids will spend less time needing to count their fingers one at a time because they will begin to recognize those numbers without the need to count. So have some fun tonight trying to use your fingers to make numbers. See you next time.